The Davenport Hall was the kind of place that made ordinary people feel small. Tall marble columns reached toward painted ceilings. Golden chandeliers sparkled above the crowd, scattering light across gowns worth more than a family home. Air was thick with the scent of champagne and the polite hum of conversations between people who measured status in millions. For Alina Harrow, this world was foreign. At 27, she was a music teacher at a small-town school. She wasn't rich, she wasn't famous, and she certainly wasn't on the guest list for an event like this. She was here by accident. Her childhood friend, Melissa Carter, was the event coordinator for the Winter Gala. Melissa had begged Alina to help with last-minute decorations after one of her assistants called in sick. "You'll just be helping me set up," Melissa had said that afternoon. "You don't have to mingle." But when the work was done, Melissa insisted she stay. "Enjoy it. You're here. Why not? Just don't be shy." Easier said than done. Asterisk. The center of the ballroom was dominated by a grand piano, a glossy black Steinway that gleamed under the lights. Even without anyone playing it, it drew attention like a crown jewel. Seated at it was Victor Langford. Everyone in the room knew his name. At 32, he was one of the most celebrated pianists in the world. He'd played at royal weddings, sold-out concert halls, and was known for his lightning-fast hands and perfect precision. He was also known for something else, an ego that could rival the Eiffel Tower. Alina had heard of him, of course. She'd even admired some of his recordings. But in person, he seemed colder. His sharp jaw and neatly styled dark hair made him look like a magazine cover, but his smile didn't reach his eyes as she passed by. Carrying an empty tray back toward the kitchen for Melissa, Victor's gaze landed on her. "Do you play?" he asked casually, his fingers lazily running over the keys. Alina hesitated. "A little," he chuckled. "A little," he repeated as though testing the words on his tongue. "You mean like a child plays at a toy piano? A couple nearby?" Guests laughed softly. Alina's cheeks warmed. "I teach music," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. Victor arched a brow. "At a school?" "Yes." His smirk deepened. "Ah, teaching Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star to sticky-fingered toddlers? Noble work." He turned back to the keys without another glance. Alina walked away, jaw tight. She told herself it didn't matter. People like Victor lived in another universe. Let him be smug in his marble palace. Half an hour later, the evening program began. Guests gathered around the piano as Victor prepared to play. Melissa whispered to Alina, "He's going to do Rachmaninoff's Prelude in C-sharp minor." A monster piece, and it was. Victor's fingers flew over the keys like lightning, his body leaning and swaying with calculated elegance. The audience was spellbound. The final thunderous chords rang out to roaring applause. Victor stood, bowing with theatrical grace, but then his eyes scanned the room and found Alina. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced with a grin that made Alina's stomach sink, "earlier tonight I met a young woman who claimed she could play the piano." A little heads turned. Alina froze. Victor gestured toward her. "Miss Alina Harrow, would you honor us with a demonstration?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Melissa looked at her with wide eyes. "You don't have to," she whispered. But something in Alina pride, maybe? Or the quiet fury of being belittled made her step forward. Asterisk. Every step toward the Steinway felt like walking into a spotlight she didn't want. She could hear soft whispers. "Who is she? She a student of his? She doesn't look like a concert pianist." Victor pulled out the bench with an exaggerated flourish. "The stage is yours, Miss Harrow." Alina sat down. Fingers brushed the smooth ivory keys. She could feel Victor standing just behind her, his presence heavy with expectation. Or maybe amusement. She took a deep breath. Asterisk, instead of launching into a piece. Alina pressed a single note. It rang through the ballroom, pure, clear, trembling with intention. She let it linger until it faded completely into silence. Then she played it again, this time softer. Then again, barely touching the key. Some guests tilted their heads, confused. But a few leaned closer, sensing something deliberate. And then she began. From that single note, she wove a melody, slow, tender, and aching with unspoken emotion. The left hand followed with gentle chords, cradling the tune like a heartbeat. The music grew, swelling into something richer, each phrase building on the last. It was not flashy, not technical gymnastics like Victor's, but it was alive. Every note breathed. Every pause was as important as the sound. By the time she reached the final chord, there was not a whisper in the room. Alina lifted her hands from the keys. The sound faded, leaving a silence so full it felt sacred. Victor was still standing. Behind her, his smirk was gone. The applause began softly, almost hesitant, then swelled into something thunderous. Alina stood, gave a small nod, and stepped away from the piano. Victor caught her arm gently. Where did you learn to play like that?" She met his eyes, from listening, not just to the music, but to the silence between the notes. And then she walked away. The rest of the night, people approached her, strangers in evening gowns and tuxedos, asking about her music, her life, whether she performed anywhere. Victor stayed near the piano, silent. When Alina finally left, stepping out into the cool night air, she felt lighter. She didn't need his approval. She'd spoken in the only language she truly knew, and the room had understood. And as for Victor, he never mocked another musician again.